Hello, welcome. I'm glad that you've recognized the shortcomings in your life and yourself and have come to learn about Integrative Ontological Practices by Beta Plus Systems. Our system, based on a unique understanding of the principle of tertiary natural consciousness, offers unprecedented healing techniques designed and engineered for the specific needs of each member. These practices will defragment your mind and environment to offer you an entirely new level of engagement and functionality, to allow you to experience wholeness of self as you never have before. In order to provide you with the first plane of informational understanding, allow us to explain the foundation of tertiary natural consciousness. The human exists in 3 dimensions, and so, too, does their mind. These dimensions ought to function together as one experience, but are, in you and every modern human, untreated by IOP B+, disparate. These 3 dimensions are the terrestrial, the organic, or what some would call the natural. For example, a tree like you would find in the forest. The constructural, the physical human-made form simulating the terrestrial. For example, a plastic tree that you would buy at a store. And the digital, self-explanatory, the computer-based, binary, data-based object and simulation of either terrestrial or constructural. The tessor cube, shown here, is instrumental to the understanding of integrated self. You are divided into the 3 dimensions explained previously, and then further into the internal and the external aspect of each division. Each of these 6 fragments of yourself defines one side of the cube. The internal and external aspect of each dimension are placed on opposite faces so that they reflect into one another infinitely, like 2 opposing mirrors, growing but also merging with each level of interplay. And of course, all 6 sides, while reflecting, cross paths and synthesize in the center of the cube. There's a history that I'd like you to understand, but will summarize for this introductory understanding, which begins, according to an Earth human's concept of linear time, with the first division in environment and thus in our minds. The ancient Romans began an architectural process known as rustication, in which they took the blocks of stone they had squared to build their structures and chiseled or altered the surfaces to appear, once again, like the human's conception of rock. The same practice was used in casting an entire wall of a building, and then creating the appearance that this larger surface had been assembled of many smaller, natural or terrestrial rocks. This practice was also highly popular in Renaissance building many centuries later, and carries on today, both in that form and in the popular facades of simulated or constructural rock, wood, and other materials. These objects are not contained to the surfaces of buildings, but serve many purposes, both practical and aesthetic or atmospheric. So this marks a turning point in which the human becomes so comfortable within its built environment, almost unaware of it, that it begins to simulate the terrestrial nature within it. This turning point is mimicked when the human moves from the basic building blocks of the digital environment to simulations of both terrestrial and constructural nature within it. Now, the most destructive aspect of the human's fractured self lies in your subconscious desire to hierarchize these dimensions, which contributes severely to the enforcement of barriers between them and to an inability to understand or use one's own mind and self. Integrative Ontological Practices from Beta Plus Systems will prescribe treatments and healers that will find and target the weaknesses in your mind's tessor cube, but to expect any success, you must commit yourself from the start to the de-hierarchization of the 3 dimensions. To treat the plastic rock simulation as essentially inferior to or less real than the terrestrial rock that is simulated, is to fail on the most basic level to experience either. The simulation is not as good at being a terrestrial rock, but it is not trying to. You have imposed that mission upon it. It is every bit as real, as ontologically powerful, as possessing of beingness, as the terrestrial and as the digital rock. Because these environments all exist within you, by virtue of and as cause of their presence as your lived environments, the failure to experience their full energy is a denigration and destruction of your own mind. Your interest in integrative ontological practices indicates a serious intentionality of care towards your mind, self, and world. You have the potential to synthesize into an effective whole being through full commitment to a personalized IOP regimen. Please contact us at the link provided to secure a full diagnostic test and begin your personalized healing regimen for an integrated you.